Hello viewers, chessmates and checkmaters. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are playing our 6th chess match on chess.com. After learning a lot from my previous games, I'm excited to jump into another match and see what challenges await. Every game teaches something different, and that's what makes chess such an amazing game. I get the white pieces and open with pawn e4. My opponent responds with pawn e5. A classical start to the game. I develop my knight to f3, attacking the center and controlling important squares. My opponent responds with knight c6. I continue with knight c3, while he develops another knight to f6. I bring my bishop to c4, aiming toward the king side, and keeping an eye on the sensitive f7 square. My opponent develops his bishop to c5. The position is balanced and both sides have completed a good portion of development. I push pawn d3 to strengthen my center and open lines for my dark squared bishop. My opponent castles kingside, prioritizing king's safety early in the game. I continue developing by bringing my bishop to e3. My opponent responds with bishop b6. Now I decide it's time to challenge the center directly. I push pawn d4, opening the position and asking my opponent some questions. My opponent accepts the challenge and captures. I recapture with my bishop, keeping active piece play. He responds by bringing his knight into the center and taking on d4. I recapture with my knight and maintain control of important central squares. Now my opponent places a rook on e8. This is a very useful move because the rook immediately becomes active on the open file. I bring my queen to f3, connecting my pieces and looking for potential attacking opportunities. My opponent pushes pawn d5, striking back in the center and trying to gain space. The game is becoming more dynamic now. Both sides have developed their pieces, and we're entering the critical phase where plans begin to matter more than simple development. My opponent places his bishop on a5, creating pressure and maintaining activity. I castle kingside, bringing my king to safety and connecting my rooks. I decide to capture in the center with pawn takes d5. My opponent responds with pawn c6. The center becomes very tense, and several exchanges are possible. I continue with pawn takes c6, creating structural weaknesses in my opponent's position. He recaptures with b takes c6. At this point, the pawn structure has changed significantly. Open files and diagonals are beginning to appear. These types of positions often reward active pieces more than material advantages. I notice an opportunity and play knight takes c6. My knight jumps into an active square and starts creating threats. My opponent responds with queen b6 check. I carefully move my king to h1, stepping away from the check and avoiding complications. My opponent captures on c6 with the queen. This is the kind of position where every move requires careful calculation, because one mistake can completely change the evaluation. My opponent captures on c6 with the queen. My opponent develops his bishop to a6, increasing pressure and controlling important diagonals. I respond with knight d5. As the game progresses, I focus on improving my pieces rather than rushing into an attack. One lesson I've learned from previous games is that activity often matters more than immediate threats. If your pieces are coordinated and active, opportunities will naturally appear. My opponent continues applying pressure, but I remain patient. Instead of forcing tactics that may not work, I look for moves that improve my position. Sometimes in chess, patience is more valuable than aggression. The center remains the key battlefield. Both sides are fighting for control of important squares. Every piece is contributing to the struggle. The queens are active, the bishops are controlling long diagonals, and the knights are looking for strong outposts. As the position develops further, I begin to notice that my pieces are becoming more active than my opponents. My coordination improves move by move. My rooks are connected, my knight is centralized, and my queen is supporting key squares. My opponent is now forced to spend more time dealing with threats and defending weaknesses. That's usually a good sign because it means you're controlling the flow of the game. When your opponent is reacting to your moves instead of creating their own plans, the initiative is often in your hands. This is one of the most important lessons in chess. Material is important, but active pieces can often be worth more than an extra pawn. A coordinated attack can create problems that are very difficult to solve. I continue improving my position and looking for opportunities. My opponent tries to hold the position together, but the pressure keeps growing. Every move becomes harder for him to find. Eventually, the position reaches a critical moment. My opponent evaluates the situation and realizes that the position is becoming increasingly difficult to defend. Rather than continue in a losing or highly unfavorable position, he decides to resign. And just like that, the game comes to an end. Result: 1-0. This was a very instructive game. The opening was balanced, the middle game was dynamic, and the key lesson was the importance of piece activity and central control. If you enjoyed this match, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you spotted any improvements or interesting ideas, let me know in the comments below. Let's go, guys. Let's end up the video here. See you in the next video. Bye.